Alright, so we're going to pick up where we left off, and this time we're going to add a table to a slide. So I'm going to click on slide 4, and I'm going to add a new slide. So I'll go to the Home tab, and then I'll add a new slide, and I'm going to change the layout to title and content. And so I'll type in the title, books to recommend, and then I'm going to, so there are a couple different ways you can insert a table. You can do it through the Insert tab and Table, but there's also an icon on the content portion of the title and content layout. So this, if you hover over it, it says Insert Table. So I'm going to click that, and then it asks you for the number of columns and number of rows. So we want to have 4 columns. So I'll change the 5 to a 4. And number of rows, actually you can put it at 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter. So I'll just leave it at 2 and click OK. And so it starts formatting it, and so I'm just going to type in the column headings. And so to move from cell to cell, or you can just press Tab. So I'm just going to type in title, tab, author, tab, number of pages, tab, and then genre, and tab. And so then it moves down to the next row. If by chance you press enter, it just adds another line within that cell, so you can just press backspace to remove that. And then I'll just type in a title. Oh gosh, I can't think of one. There's one right on my book, so I'm going to just type in The Story of More. The author is Hope. And number of pages, I'm just going to say 250. I'm not even sure that that's it, and it's nonfiction. And then if I press Tab, then it moves down to the next line. Okay, so we could start adding more if we wanted to, but we're not going to take up time. And so I can use Shift and Tab to move to the previous cell, and Tab moves me, remember, to the next cell. So I can make changes if I want to change. If I position my mouse pointer over this right border of number of pages, I don't need it to be. So I'll click and drag it to the left. I can make genre. Oops, I'm grabbing the wrong. It has to turn into that. I'm not getting it to, oops, I'm not getting it to turn into that. Oh, here, I'll just do this. That makes it easy. Just grab the okay. And so, but if I position my mouse pointer over the border, it does turn into like a double-headed vertical line with arrows on the horizontal line. So I could make that a little bit longer or bigger, wider. So I could go to the Layout tab, which is the contextual tab, and I can click the Align button, and then I can center it. Okay, center the table. I can change the design by going to Table Design tab and changing it, and I'll get a whole palette of different designs to use. It's really up to you which one you prefer. Some of these look very neat, you know, on screen, but again, they'll take up a lot of ink. So if you're going to print, you want to be aware of that. And so that's how it's very simple to add a table. You can also insert a chart. So I'm going to click on slide 2, and I'm going to add a new slide. So I'll just, on the Home tab, click the new slide button, and I'm not going to add a title, so I'm just going to add a chart. And again, I could go to the Insert tab on the ribbon and then choose Chart. But there's also in the Content, or Title and Content slide, in this grouping of icons, there is an Insert Chart icon. So I can click it, and we're going to add a pie chart, and then it allows you to use variations. So I'm going to use the 3D pie and click OK. And eventually it will come up with a spreadsheet that does have data in it. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see. But that's just used as placeholders. So I'm going to click in cell B1, and I'm going to type in patron demographics. All right, and then I'll press tab, which it will then move to cell A2. And then I'm just going to type in the age groups, 2 to 12, press tab, and type in 18%, tab. Oh, yeah, I forgot that this makes it a date. So I could actually put in a single quotation mark to make it text. So 2 to 12. Okay, and then I'm going to do 13 to 25 age group and make that 12%. I don't know if these are, I just made these figures up. 26 to 35, tab, and 8%. Well, it doesn't matter. Make these up. 36 to 45, 8%. And even though my data had ended there, I can just keep going. 46 to 55, and that'll be 11%. And then the last group is 66 and over, and that will be 34%. Okay, so it creates a spread or a chart from an Excel spreadsheet, and all I have to do is close it. I don't have to save it. All right, and so if you're familiar with Excel's charts, it really functions the same way. So I'm going to add a title. So I'm just going to select it, the border, the placeholder, and press delete, and it makes the chart a little bit bigger. And I can actually put this as my title. All right, and if I wanted to, I could center it or whatever. But when I select the chart, it does have, and we won't go into great detail about this, but if I want to click this and put data labels, and I could do outside end, all right, so they're easier to read. And then quite honestly, I don't need the legend, all right? So then I can click the legend to remove that. Oh, yes, I do need the legend because that shows the age groups. So, but I can change the position of the legend, all right? So, so there is a little bit of flexibility in this. not as great as if I were to have created a chart from Excel, but there is some flexibility. So I can also add Smart Art, which, as I said before, is a predefined design for lists, processes, organization charts, etc. So I'm going to go to slide 6 where the table is. I'm going to add a new slide. And again, I could go to the Insert tab, and then there is a Smart Art button, but I can also use it from the icons on the content portion of the slide. So I'll click it. And there's some really interesting ones. I mean, so you can click on it just to see what it looks like and then also get a description of it. So I'm going to choose the category list, and then I want to choose the vertical picture accent list. So I think it's down here a little bit. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so it shows it, and then it says used to show non-sequential or grouped blocks of information. Small circles are designed to contain pictures. And then I'll say OK. And so then I can type, or first of all, I'll click on the picture icon and get it from a file. And I'll just, oh, let's see, where did I put those? So I'll use Terry's picture. And then I'll click the picture icon, select from the Insert Pictures from a file. And then I'll use Chuck's. So I can either double click or I can click to select it and then click Insert. All right, and so then for the text, I can just type in Library Administrator. And it just automatically adjusts to fit. And then I click on the text and I'll type in librarian. Okay, and so now I have this one that I don't need. So I can just press the delete key, so select it, then press the delete key, and then these get bigger. And then I can just say meet the staff. Oh, so I was going to put that in Word Art. So to do that, I'll go to the Insert tab, and then I'm going to choose the Word Art button. So I'll click it, and then I get to select which one I want to use. So, oh, let's try this one. Maybe that one. And so, of course, it doesn't put it where I want it to go, but I'm going to click and drag that up here, and I can actually get rid of this placeholder. So I can click on the border and then press the delete key, and then I have my Word Art here. So I'll select it, and I'm going to type in meet the staff. And I can position it wherever, all right? And I can also add text effects. So while it's selected, and I know it's selected because it's got the sizing handles around it, but then I can, on the shape format, I can go, so there's a Word Art Styles. So you can change the text fill if you want, the text outline, but the text effects are kind of fun, especially the transform. So I can use any one of these. Let's try this one, meet the staff. And so you can make it bigger. I can resize it, and I can position it over. So it just kind of gives an text and artistic flair to it. All right. So we're also going to talk about adding hyperlinks, and so this is actually a good way to use video. Just have a link and have it go to a file, as opposed to embedding the file or a video clip or something in the slide itself or the PowerPoint file, just because it makes the file so large. So I'm going to add a new slide. So I'll go to, let's go to reading challenges. Let's just add it after that. And then we'll, okay, and then do new slide. And let's actually use title only for this one. All right, so I could insert a new slide and then go to layout button, but I could also click that lower half of the button and then choose one of the layouts, which is exactly what we did. We did title only. So I'm going to type the title, Club Selections, or okay, and then I'm going to first add a picture, all right, and then from that picture create a link for it. So I'm going to insert picture from this device or from file, and I want it to be here, and I want it to be the book club clip art. So I can double click it, and I'll just click and drag it. Now, so these are, so let's just kind of take a look. This is kind of fun. So I kind of like these different designs. And so if you're using 365 version, it does offer these design ideas. So I'll just click this one. And then I can select the picture. I'm going to close this pane. And I'll go to the Insert tab. And then there's a button called Link. Okay, so I'm going to go to the internet first. And I'm going to click on the Messenger's website, and so this is, so there are a couple of things. Sometimes when you go to the internet and go to that specific page, sometimes PowerPoint will recognize that. So let's see if it does. I'm going to minimize that, and so Insert tab, go to the Link button, and so see here it doesn't. So I can do Insert Link and then just go back to that, to the website, and just copy there we go. So do a Control-C to copy, minimize it, and so just be sure to have link in, or link to, it says existing file or web page, all right? And then you can, in the address, just click there and do Control-V for Victor to paste it in, and then click OK. So now when I position my mouse pointer over it, it does give me the website of what that is. So if for some reason you got the wrong website, you can right-click this and choose Edit Link, or if that link is broken, you could edit it, but you can also remove the link as well. So I'm just going to do slideshow and then from current slide and show you what I mean. So I can just position my mouse pointer over this, because the picture is where we linked it, and just click it, and it goes to the website page that we had asked it to. Okay. I think I still have it, so I'm going to press escape so it goes off of that PowerPoint. You can also copy a slide. I know I've copied slides before, but maybe I like the layout, so let's just pretend we like this layout. And so, or you have similar information. I can think, another thing I've thought, or I've used copy a slide for, is if I have too much information on a slide and I make a copy of it, then I can delete out a portion of it on the one slide and delete out the other portion of it on the other slide, and then I've made it into two slides without having to retype. So that is one of the reasons I have used that. And so we could do that here. So so I go to Home tab, click the bottom half of New Slide, and then choose Duplicate Selected Slide. So it creates two. So on this one, I want that first list. So I could just click the placeholder and press delete. And then click this slide, click the placeholder and press delete. And I could actually make this then into a content, title and content slide. And I could do the same for this layout as well. So Home tab, Layout, and make this title and content. So if I click, so that can be used that way. So now we're going to talk about transition effects. So that's movement between slides. So I'm just going to close this and then just do the slideshow from the beginning. All right. So when the next slide just pops up. All right. And I'm just going to press escape just to end that slideshow. So I could add transitions, and there are many different ones. And for this one, we're going to apply it to all of the slides except the title slide. All right. So I'm going to change it to Slide Sorter button. And I'm going to do Control and A to select all slides. Then I'll press and hold the Control key and click on the first slide to remove that one from the grouping. So now you don't see an outline around that first title slide. All right. Then I'm going to go to the Transitions tab. All right. And so here are all the different transitions that are available. There are subtle ones, there are exciting ones, and there are, is that dynamite or dynamic? It's too small of text, but anyway, it's not easy getting old. So anyway, it's, and so we're going to choose the vortex. That's the one we want to choose. So that's in the exciting section. So we'll just click on that, and it shows you what it is. Now, to me, that can get a little annoying after a while. So one thing I would say is, I'm going to press escape to stop it. So one thing is, I wouldn't actually choose different transitions for all different slides. it's nice to have consistency. It's more professional that way. You know, we could take a look at some of the more subtle ones. Fade actually is a nice one. Okay, so I'll press escape. So, you know, it's up to you how you, but just remember what Dave Peretti, or however you say his name, says, that people find it annoying with too much moving objects, etc. But I'm going to go back to Vortex. And notice that it comes in from the left. I'll press escape. You can change that. So there's Effect Options button, and I'm going to say I want it to come from the top. All right. Now it does seem to take a long time. I can change, press escape. I can change that. So in the timing grouping, duration is 4 seconds. I can change that to 2. And press enter. And so now we can press Control and Home, or just click on the first slide because we're in, let's go to normal view, and then let's do slideshow. So from the beginning, the first slide doesn't have the transition because remember we excluded it. Then I press enter, press enter. Okay, we'll press escape to stop that. So, so that's a transition. You can also apply animation to bulleted lists, to pictures, etc. So animations are applied to objects within the slide, whether that's text, whether it's charts, images, whatever. All right. So, so that's movement to those different objects. So we're going to go to the services slide. First we'll work with bulleted lists. And I'm going to click in the text, whatever item. And then I'm going to go to the animations button. And then I'm going to click the more. And again, there are a lot of different ones. So they are grouped. The default is none. And then you have ones that can be used to enter the objects. You have ones for emphasis. So it's there, but then it draws attention to it. And then you have one that's exit, and then you have motion paths. Again, moving objects and flying text can become annoying after a while if you use it too much. So you do want to take that into consideration. So we're going to choose float in, which is kind of a subtle one, and it's nice entrance. All right. And then instead of it coming from the bottom, we'll choose Effect Options, similar to what we saw for transitions, and we want it to come from the top down. Okay, and notice that it comes in groups. All right. So let's do slideshow from the beginning. So no transition for the first or the title slide. The next one does have it. And notice it doesn't automatically start. Press click and that first grouping comes in. Press click again, then the next grouping. Click. Now this actually gives you more control as you're talking. So if you want to, and depending, you know, you've seen people with clickers and it advances the slides automatically. But if you don't have one of those clickers, then you're kind of tied to your computer. You can walk around, but you always have to get back to your computer to either press enter or click the mouse or something for it to move to the next one. But you do have more control because if somebody asks a question, things aren't coming on the screen and you haven't talked about them yet. So you do have to consider those kinds of things. So I can, let's see, did that. So I can press enter again and press escape. All right. So if I want more control on this, or less, maybe I should say less control, I'm going to go to the animations tab. All right. I'll click in the bulleted list, and then I'm going to click in the advanced animations grouping. I'm going to click the automation pane, and it'll bring on the right side, it brings up the animation pane, which will give me more control of how I want these to enter on the screen. Because remember, I had to press press either the enter button or click the mouse to get that to move or to have them enter. So I'll click the menu button. So first let me just say one thing. Notice on the slide these are numbered. So it's shows the order of which they come in, which that's pretty logical. The first group comes in at the first, but I can change that. So if I click this list arrow right here, and I can group them all together. Right now they're start on click, all right, because I see that little mouse. I'm going to say start after previous. So they'll be automated. They won't come in all at once. They'll come in as one at a time. So if I click that, and then I can, let's just take a look at how that goes. So I'll do from current slide. So there's the transition, and I'm not pressing anything. So notice that by saying start after previous, each one comes in separately, but they come in automated. They come in by themselves. I haven't clicked anything. So you can see the difference. You do have more control if you say start on click. All right. So I'll press escape. We're back at the animation pane. So if I want to see individual ones, see this double arrow at the bottom? If I click that, it opens up all the different ones that relate to the different items on the slide. All right. So let's just say, for whatever reason, I want kids in circulation to come in at the same time. I know that probably doesn't make sense. But so I'll click on circulation. It shows me the drop-down arrow or the list arrow. And I can say starts with previous. All right, so it will bring kids in circulation in together because before it came in separately. All right, and then I'll say from current slide, transition, and now this is animation. So each one comes in individually without my clicking because it's start after previous. And notice how kids in circulation came in together because we said circulation was going to be start with previous. All right. And then I'm going to press the escape key. So that's how you can do it. Now, you can get very, I don't know if fancy is the right word, but you can get where you can have things come in and out. So if I have adults grouping and then have a picture for that, I can have that come in. Remember, so animation, if I look at the different groupings, I can have it enter. But then if I want, I can also have an exit. So when the next group comes in, I can have that one picture disappear and another one come in. So you can get pretty sophisticated. It does take a lot of work, but or a lot of time, I should say. So then we're going to take a look at adding sound. And again, you do want to be careful about adding sound. we're going to only take a look at the sound for the sound that comes with the programs. Sometimes people think that's a little cheesy, but so remember, that's just something to consider. Too much sound, you know, kind of figure less is more. One thing I did forget to mention, that when we did the changed it from on the click, notice that these numbers did change. Okay, they're all now at 0 because they just are coming one right after the other without any kind of click. Okay, so I'm going to go to the reading challenges, slide 4, and I'm going to click on that image, and I'm going to have an animation, so I'll choose bounce. All right. Again, for me, this is a little too much movement, but we'll and then, so now bounce is here. It comes in on the click, and I know that because it's got the little mouse here, but also as I hover over it, there's a little tooltip, and it says entrance bounce. All right, on click. So if I click that list arrow, and I go to Effect Options, notice that right now the default is no sound. If I click that list arrow, there's an alphabetical list of different sounds. So let's try the drum roll and click OK. Oh, it can be a little startling. So, you know, we are then going to go to slide 2, and you can add sound to the transition. All right, I'm going to close that animation pane, and I'm going to go to Transitions tab. All right, and then notice in the timing grouping of the Transitions tab, again, it's no sound is the default. I've only chosen slide number 2, so it's only going to apply the sound to that slide, not the others. And then I'm going to check, click that list arrow, and we're going to click chime. Okay. So let's do slideshow from the beginning. So again, no transition on the first slide. Click, and there's that chime. And it brings in that. That was animation. Click. Now there's no sound because we didn't apply it to only but the second slide. Oops. Right. And again. Now, here's where if I click, then the picture comes in with the sound effect of the drum roll. All right, that's enough. We'll press escape. So, of course, I said save as often, you know, or pretty often, which of course I haven't saved, but we can just go ahead and click the save button, especially if before you want to print. So let's talk just a little bit about printing. All right. So you can print the presentation one of several ways, and you do it through the File tab. So we'll click File and then choose Print. You can print handouts, you can print speaker notes, and you can print outline. So the Backstage area allows you to view this. And so right now, it's saying to print all slides. You can print just a grouping of them. And here's where it says print full page slides. But if I click that, it shows I can have 2 slides per handout, or 2 slides per page. 3 with lines for notes, 4 slides. Oops, I keep clicking the wrong one. 6 in horizontal, so it goes across. Then there's slides 6 vertical, and then there's 9 slides, and that has the option of horizontal and vertical. So those are your options. You don't have to print 1 slide per page. It takes up a lot of ink. It takes up a lot of paper too. And you can also change the orientation. So I can change it from portrait to landscape. All right. And that does make the slides a little bit bigger to see. You can choose to not print in color because the ink is what's so expensive. You can do grayscale, or you can do pure black and white, which usually takes up the least amount of ink. You can also see how many pages for the outline, or I'm sorry, for the handout. And this says 1 of 2. I can see what the next page of slides look like. So notice on this handout, there's the date, current date, and the page number. All right. I can also customize that. So I'm going to click the back button, all right, to go back to the presentation. And so I will go to the View tab and then go to the Handout Master where I can customize that footer. So up here I can click in that footer kind of placeholder actually, and I'm going to type in presented by, I'll just type in Judy Beaver, and then I'm going to go down here to the footer, and I'm just going to type in Messenger Library. Okay, and then I can close the master view, and when I go back to File, Print, I see those changes up here. All right. And you can, so we'll go back to the slides themselves. You can also add slide footers and apply it to all slides. So we'll go to the View. Be sure you're on Normal. We'll click on slide 2. And we're going to do from the Insert tab, Header and Footer button. All right. And so I want to include the date and time, have it update automatically. All right. And I can change the format of the date. So if I click this list arrow, I can change it to month, day, year with the month spelled out. I want the slide number. I want to include a footer. Again, we'll just type in the footer Messenger. Oops, I can spell. And then I can say don't show the footer on the title slide. All right. I think I've included everything. And then click Apply to All button. So I can see all of that. So if I click on the title slide, I don't see it. Second, third. So I see all that down here. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, and I found this to be really helpful for me because a lot of times when I'm planning out, so I'm just going to save this and do File New. So when I'm planning, and I just want it to be a blank presentation. So when I'm planning or creating a PowerPoint presentation, you know, I might want to kind of sketch things out to organize it. Obviously, I'm not sketching out pictures or anything like that, but it helps me to kind of put what I want to start with instead of just going and starting to create it in PowerPoint. So what you can do is just create a bunch of blank slides. So I'll just click duplicate slide. Now I can, so the second one is selected. Now if I press and hold the shift key and click that first one, I can do duplicate slides, and now it'll give me 4. I can click the first one, press and hold shift, and click the last one. Now 4 are selected, and I can choose duplicate selected slides. So now I have 8. So let's just do this. Click that first one, scroll down, press and hold shift, click the last one, and then duplicate slides. All right. So now I have 16 slides. If I go to File, Print, and I choose, now let's choose 9 horizontal. Maybe change landscape. So now I can, and I have 2 pages of those. So I could do I could copy or duplicate just 2 more slides. So I have 2 full sheets. And then if you print them, then you can kind of start writing down your ideas here. So it has helped me in the past just to kind of get my thoughts on what I want to fill in. But some people just like to create on the fly. So then you would just click the print button and then work from that printed sheet of paper. So anyway, that concludes the workshop for Intro to PowerPoint. I hope you've learned a lot, and thanks for listening. And we will stop this when I can find the stop button.